Hey, folks, this is Brian Blessing. Hope you're enjoying the Hockey Betting Podcast. We have a couple chuckles, try to get you a lot of winners. If you like what you're hearing, hit the subscribe button, give us a review, give us a rating. Most importantly, enjoy the hockey and keep coming back to the Hockey Betting Podcast.
You're listening to the Hockey Betting Podcast, presented by BetCrisCanada.net. This is the Hockey Betting Preview for Friday, May 15th, 2020. And now, live from Las Vegas, the host of the Hockey Betting Podcast, Brian Blessing.
Hey there, ho there. It's time for the Hockey Betting Podcast. A couple of laughs, hoping that hockey's coming back. We shall see. Brian Blessing in Las Vegas, in control of our friends to the north. Cam Stewart, Mississauga, one of the lovely burbs. I see how important I made it with the lovely burbs of Toronto. As we start, Mike, our lovely producer, says, "Keep it positive, guys." Okay, yeah, I got you covered, kid. So let me get this right. We're 9 weeks into a global pandemic. We've got murder hornets. Locusts are taking over Africa. And apparently there was like a 6.2 earthquake about 200 miles from here overnight. Other than that, it's just a day at the beach.
I can't complain, though, Brian. I got my check from the government. Hey, I qualified for something.
So you're the one.
It was surprising. Like, they denied me all the other time. And I'm like, oh, my God, I actually got a check for a couple grand. So that really took the edge off. So I am kind of in a good mood. And, Brian, you're going to like this one, too. Got a new phone. It's a real loser, though. I paid $100 online. And, let's just say it's got some flaws, but I think it calls and takes text. That's all.
I don't know. Well, the one thing, I mean, we were relegated to text, and I realized, just how precious time is during this pandemic. And boy, there was a time management aspect of you not being able to talk. That's
you know what? I'm not going to say that one, though.
Add that one to the murder hornet list.
Yeah, no, those murder hornets. I'll tell you, jeez, I don't even know where to go with that. But I will say this:
hey, I got a great idea.
What? Live murder hornet broadcasts? What?
No, all the hype and all this crap. We're waiting and waiting. The Seattle Murder Hornets. How awesome is that?
I like the Emeralds. What did you like again? Kraken? That octopus?
I didn't like that. I like the Murder Hornets.
Oh, the Murder Hornets. Yes. Oh, Brian. Hey, here's the thing. Producer Mike likes positivity. Well, we'll give him some positivity. We got Roxana and Edith's coming back. We got Darlington, NASCAR. Hockey, on the other hand, we haven't heard much, but I will say this. Slowly but surely, the turtle is coming out of its shell. He's moving a little. We're not at a great pace right now, but I see positives right now.
And the players, honestly, they're really starting to tune up. You were telling me that there's a big Fortnite tournament.
That's right. Great story. Zach Hyman and Comper host Fortnite tournament. Commentators Blessing and Stewart. Join us. No, I was just like sitting there now. It's just that's the thing, too, right, Brian? We talk about this. Some guys are in Sweden, Finland, all over the world right now. The facilities, you do a daily show every day. It's just, but let's call it out for what it is. Basically, the other sports, baseball can't come up with a plan because they have a new preferred plan every day, and it's a nightmare. Like that's the one season that I think, if you gave me a betting card, baseball will be the one season I think that would default first. Hockey and basketball have an advantage. They played most of the season. We can get this done. They're just finding ways, I think right now, instead of just putting out stupid stories that aren't stories like baseball where the owners are basically mouthpiece for the media, I think right now hockey and basketball are waiting on like the real preferred plan before they get it together. I'm not sure what your take is, but I'm not giving up yet. I think it's going to happen.
No, I've said all along, I think hockey will hold out longer than anybody with the want and the desire to get this done. I will say this, though, Pally, throughout the course of thanks to the listeners.
The listeners have been great.
I honestly, I love you all, but like Geez, folks. But they've stuck with us on this thing.
They got either they got real problems in life, or we entertain them. I don't know if it's column A, column B, but we love you. Thank you.
Do you think that? I mean, honestly, is that a sound? It's outside the box thinking that. Yeah, what are you going to do on the podcast? Well, we're just going to take shots at our listeners.
Yeah,
but
that's what we do.
But we love you guys. Well, I think they're like us, right? Self-deprecating humor's the best.
It is.
But I've been saying this on my radio show now for, literally weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks on this one. And I'm telling you, a week into this thing, Cam, I said, yeah, send them to Greenland. Right? Well, okay, a month later, the neutral site locations, you send them. I'm like, sometimes it's like right there in front of your face. But I'm telling you, it's been about a month now, I'm going, the one thing nobody's talking about, the players got to sign off on this, and the NHLPA's got to get involved with this. I said, but what if Sidney Crosby says, yeah, that's great, I'm not doing it. I'm not leaving my family in the middle of a pandemic to go God knows where for 4 weeks or for 2 months. And, all of a sudden, there's the picture, the kid from the Rays. Snell says, yeah, no thanks. I'm not doing it for the big cut and pay. I'm not exposing myself to this thing. I'm not going to go out in a shortened season and risk injury. And it's easy to shoot holes again. Oh, boy. Easy to thumb your nose at $1.5 million. But beyond that, where his priorities lie, I couldn't tell you. But he said, I don't want to leave my family. But he's also sitting there going, to play for this diminished number, he's like, I'm going to risk hundreds of millions if I get hurt doing this thing.
That's another thing. And another thing.
It ain't worth it to me. What if how many hockey players are going to say, no.
I agree, though. And here's another thing that we talked about on our show. If you're working at the Home Depot or Walmart, good on you. You don't have a 99-mile-an-hour fastball. Oh, there's people working for $15, $20 an hour. Yeah, well, you know what? This guy also spent his years while you were drinking beers and partying on the school roof, working on his craft, working on baseball, going to camps, lawyers, 8 years in school. So that's why they make the money they do. They have a skill set that you don't have. But I will say this, in hockey, in comparison to other sports, these guys are a little bit different. You talk about the injuries, playing through it. Like baseball, there's a lot of guys like Mike Trout, Clayton Kershaw. They got more money than they know what to do with. There's a lot of guys in hockey. It's like, damn, man, we need this money. It's a different sport. Like they must be freaking out right now because the aspect of hockey and escrow and everything else, the way the sport is formulated, they got to play. So I'm going to say even the big dogs in hockey, they're willing to take more of a risk, I think, than the other sports. It's just in their DNA.
I agree, but the thing is, where there's one, does it turn in? Is there a groundswell, and how many more are they in all sports? And the one thing I would just say to all the leagues: best of luck to you. If this guy, whoever he is, draws a line in the sand and he doesn't care what the social media says, and he's just gonna. How many players is a kid here in Vegas? I'm just throwing this out there. I haven't heard one word or the other whether he would consider, but a guy like Will Carrier, he just signed a contract extension. He just had a baby like 4 weeks ago. Okay, yeah, we're sending you to Edmonton for 8 weeks, and he's gonna leave his significant other and a newborn behind.
Oh, I understand that, but also another thing,
we sit and throw these guys around, move them around like king to Rook 4.
I agree with Don. You bring up great points, but listen to this too. Let's remember one thing too. They go to this place. People are going to get eliminated. Not everyone's going to stay there the whole damn time. That's
true.
The thing, right? So you could be there for a very short stay. Sorry, honey, we suck. We're done. I'll see you and the baby again. Don't even have to hire that sitter or nanny for like another couple weeks. And that's something we have to look at there too. You know what I mean? And I really think we can get it done. The only problem that I have right now is they're throwing ideas out there, but they change all the time. Oh, Toronto's going to be a hub city. They talked about Alberta. You mentioned Buffalo. All these other places. It would be really nice if we can kind of narrow it down and start to figure out.
Apparently,
we're in mid-May now. We're in mid-May.
They've whittled it down, and apparently, Edmonton's like the front runner. I've heard a bunch of people say just how incredible the facilities are.
Edmonton has always had the best ice. Always the best ice. A million facilities. Also, I used to live in the Northwest Territories, and it's the closest main city. It is so spread out. And they still have enough hotel. I agree. I think Edmonton actually is a very, very, very good option, and they have quality ice.
And Vegas remains in the hunt, so that shall be intrigued. By the way, I just a quick boomerang back. I just liked hearing you. It's funny when somebody says something and go, did he just say that? Because it just sounded that. I thought it was really cool to hear you say the word nanny.
Yeah, nanny.
In a sense. And then my idiot brain then transitions to, what kind of nanny would Cam be? And I'm like, you'd be great. Like the 9-year-old, you'd be sitting there watching a kid. You'd be telling the kid, smoke them if you got them.
I'll tell you. I'll tell you another thing for all the hockey players and all the athletes out there. Don't get a nanny that's hotter than your wife. That usually ends up in a murder mystery.
That does not end well.
It doesn't. Hey, the nanny's here. Oh, yeah. Oh, the wife's gone away for a while. Eat her. Next thing you know, her tires are slashed. There's sugar in the gas tank, and she's in a rip. The car's on fire. Yeah, no, it's bad.
What happened?
Hire ugly nanny. Yeah, hire me as a nanny. That's basically where we go.
Boy, I don't know. Something happened. Yeah, something happened in the Flyers room. They're not happy with it. Well, what was it? I don't know. That defenseman got a new babysitter.
Yeah. I remember back in the day, even my boy Dougie Gilmore, you got a problem with the babysitter. I'll tell you, man, you got to be careful. So a tip on life. You know what, Brian? Maybe we'll do a cooking show with hockey, too, because I've been coming up with a lot of new recipes. I've been cooking a lot, but don't hire a chick that's hotter than your wife as a nanny. That's going to end very poorly.
What's your go-to meal? Now, I mean, if you're fending for yourself, what's your go-to meal that you can make that's good?
I make a chili. I love to do a chili.
It's the Julia Child portion of the
chili's the best because it's so good with everything. I add a little bit at the end, a little sprinkle of beer in the top, too, because chili's great. I can eat it when it's cold. I can eat it when it's hot. I give it a little bit of heat. And the thing is, you can do anything you want to it. You can add things that you like to make it your way. I've also, Brian, I know you're not a worldly eater, Smokestack, but I've come up with like butter chickens and curried chicken. You'd be surprised, buddy. Like I really, I'm figuring it out right.
I got to go to. I mean, when I moved out here, I was living on two coasts, so I was forced into it. All right, just take 30 seconds. Mike's going, good God.
No, Mike, don't worry about it. Hey, we talked about hockey.
I'm going to do this for you. Listeners, you want to chime in? You want to do this? But Cam, this is for you.
Yeah.
You're a meat eater. You just say you like chicken, right?
Oh, damn right I do. I love all meats.
All right, big saucepan or like a bake pan.
Yeah.
Right? Cup of rice, spread it over the bottom.
Yep.
2 cans of cream of chicken or cream of mushroom soup.
Oh, excellent move. Yep.
Glom, put it in there. All right, cup and a half of milk, pour it over there. Stir that all up on the bottom. Go get some chicken thighs. Lay the chicken thighs on top of the glom. Then you go get the Lipton French onion soup
mix. Yeah, killer.
Sprinkle it right over the top of that thing. Throw it in the oven for an hour and a half. And, buddy, you are eating like a king for 2 days. Even I can do that.
Yeah, that's a great recipe. Brian, I use that one, too, and it's great. You know what it does, too? It creates its own gravy, so it's always moist. Good call.
Well, the hard part's making sure you got to get the rice right.
Yeah, that's it. And rice is easy.
You chip a tooth on the rice if you don't know what you're doing.
Mike's like, you stupid idiots. You got a risotto recipe, you dirtbags.
But he stands. Oh, it is. I never considered that it was actually the fancy word would be. It is kind of a risotto.
It is a risotto, yeah.
But the funny thing is, before we start, when Mike gives us instructions, he never learns, does he?
No, he just doesn't learn that you're the captain of the ship, and
no,
you're going to take us in a direction he might not like.
We're rebels without a brain.
We are. It was one thing, though, and we talk a little bit of hockey, and I agreed with this point, too. Like, the Draisaitl, the only real story, whatever, like, he was really pissed off because he's thinking, and we talked about this, like, Edmonton was cooking, and this was a young team that was really feeling it right now, and he was talking about this break, and, time off is the worst thing that happened for them because he said they had a great chemistry going. You talked about it. Koskinen was playing better. Even Mike Smith, when he came in, he was on a heater. That's the thing. Like, you got to look at certain teams like Edmonton, too, and they're young. They don't really need – like, older teams, like – and Carolina's defense, they were banged up. Washington, I think the break will be good for them because they kind of have take two, the Leafs, those type of teams. Hell, if you're Sabres, if they do the 24th team thing, they might get in and
no, they're not. That ship has sailed.
It's also wrong. You can't.
No. The 24 thing's still in play.
Yeah.
Now, if it was a little closer, you could say, yeah, well, hey, you make the argument this division's tougher than that division. So but basically, the Rangers were the odd man out. They were getting scalded.
Yeah.
Everything I'm hearing now is they're calling it the Atlantic Hub, and the Rangers would actually get in
as well. They should.
Yes, and so a deserving team doesn't get left out, and people are chirping Montreal, Chicago shouldn't be in there.
No, they shouldn't. They shouldn't. Like, if the season was going to play out, first of all, here's another thing about hockey that we know. The system is set up for more teams to get in the playoffs and to keep teams lingering till the end. That's the difference. They don't have, hey, baseball, the Seattle Mariners are 40 games out already. Hockey sets it up that way. So, like, unless you're the worst teams like Detroit, and even Ottawa battled, but almost every single team to the very end of the season has a chance to get in, and that works for the sport. But it would have been a shame to see teams that are actually in not getting there and putting, if you're already 8 to 10 points out, even if you're mathematically in, you're done. You can't make up that type of ground in the NHL. It doesn't happen.
Hey, let me throw one out there for the little guy in this instance being the teams.
Yep.
That we would have thought by now we would have heard about the June draft. Well, and Bettman was like, basically they were saying we're going to do this, and there were good soldiers saying, yeah, okay, whatever, we can do it. And I think there was such significant pushback. Now, there's a Board of Governors meeting on Monday, and the one thing I did say is, how do you do the draft before you determine what is the actual format you're coming back?
That's true. That's true.
Okay. So now next week, supposedly, the actual format, we're going to get word. That's what we're hearing. But in terms of the draft and the early draft, I give these teams credit. I mean, they drew a line in the sand to the point where at least it appears that the league offices really did just take this into account, because the way they were going to do this was, because of the uncertainty, revert back to the old system where Detroit was guaranteed 1 or 2.
Yep.
And I think a lot of these teams, honestly, like Buffalo would be a perfect example, where they'd be sitting there with a chance to leap up all the way to number 1. And now if you're in the playoffs and you're part of that thing, okay, I guess I'd forego the chance, to get the stud muffin there at the top. But now if you're not in, but you're sitting there sitting in the 7 or the 8 hole, and you can't drop the 1.
Or
jump the, and these teams push back on that, and they said no. And I think I'm glad they did. They won the league over on this, I believe, because if we haven't heard about the early June draft, with each passing day, and again the clock becomes the big enemy, but it sure sounds like this draft is going to happen after the season's over, and they got significant pushback on that.
Yeah, well, and I'm glad they did, because they set up the format so, the tanking and all the other stuff. I like the new format. The old format sucked anyway. Here's another thing, though. Haven't they not just learned from the NFL, too? Just do a virtual draft. And no one knows these guys anyway. They don't have to be there. No one has to be. You're literally in a computer. You got a computer in Moscow sitting there. Yes, you're the second-round draft pick of the Florida Panthers. Thank you very much. It's been great.
But you know what? I give them credit, because it would have been, and they may still do it, but to say that the home run here was, well, the NFL did this thing and they got a spike and people watched them to move the draft. Well, no, you get by the 12th pick in the hockey draft and you go, the kid from Minsk. Who?
Yeah, but it doesn't matter, Brian, because no one watches the hockey draft anyway. That's what I'm saying, right?
And the draft is a big thing for trades and building the foundation. But the thing that was, I think they were reacting to what a home run the NFL draft thing was. And you're like, in this short-term thing, you got to see the forest through the trees. You're talking about a player that can, change for an era. I got a guy that can change a franchise for the next 15 years. And you're going to overreact to a TV show that Roger Goodell did a month ago? I'm sorry. There's a much bigger fish to fry here.
Okay, well, I'm just saying we agree to disagree on that one. I'm just saying it could be easily done. You don't have to bring anybody in. I'm saying if we're still under the situation that we're in, that would be the best way to go.
No, technically, I have no problem with the virtual draft. No, I mean, and I think they could do it, and would it be cool? Yeah. But I think the pushback was that a lot of teams sat there and said, no, wait a second. We suck. We're not in the playoffs. We want to have that chance
Yep.
to win the lottery.
I agree with that. And I think that's fair, and I'm glad that they did that. That makes a lot of sense. You're right. That's why they changed it, and that's what the lottery is for, right? You're supposed to. Hey, sometimes a team has a 1.9% chance they land it. Hey, that's what it's for. So, or else we'd have everybody tanking. This is the thing that shocks me too, and we'll talk about that. The NFL, they need a lottery. Like I don't like the setup because this year. I'm just going to tell you right now, and you can put this one and play it back. The Jacksonville Jaguars, they're tanking for Trevor, losing for Lawrence, and they're going to win probably about a few games this year. And that to me, that's crazy. They have to have a lottery. The fact that league with the money that they have right now don't have a draft lottery is insane and laughable to me. NBA has it, hockey has it. Like, come on, it's the NFL, Brian. That's my take. I think it's insane.
I know.
Don't you? Like,
no, I know.
Yeah, like you can't have just okay, we're the worst team. Okay, we get Trevor Lawrence. Thanks. It's wrong. It just sets up teams to fail, and I'm not down with that program at all.
Well, we saw tanking in the NHL. I mean, and here's the thing, because of the precedent you set. And yes, this is a very unique thing we're going through,
big time. Yeah.
Now, selfishly, all right. And I'm a bad guy for this, and I'll freely. No.
You're a bad guy.
I freely admit it. I no. But here's the. Let me tell you something. When it was the old format, and it was the year that McDavid and Eichel were there.
Yes,
finishing last guaranteed you a franchise player.
Yes.
Guaranteed.
Yes.
And in most drafts, there's a guy, and then there's a lot of good guys. This one, there were two. You weren't losing that one.
No.
You weren't losing that coin.
Stud. Yep.
All right. And I'm telling you, that year, as a Sabres fan, and it got to the point where it was pretty obvious how horrific they were. I mean, you're literally sitting there, and I mean, screaming and yelling at the TV for your team to lose. And I did it. And there are those that pontificate, the tanking thing, blah, blah. I'm going, yeah, grab your ass, all right? Because I'm watching this team every night so for the next decade, I can watch one of those two guys. Believe me, I don't care about beating the Coyotes tonight with 3 weeks to go in the season. And to this day, I think outside the KeyBank Center in Buffalo, there should be a statue of Jonathan Toews and Derek Roy. Jonathan Toews scored 2 goals in the final minute of a game. He tied the game for the Blackhawks with about 3 weeks to go in the season. Jonathan Toews scored a goal to tie the game in the final minute with the goal he pulled, and then got the game winner 20 seconds later.
I told you he's
and Chicago beat him in regulation.
I told you he's a good guy.
And Derek Roy, he played his lungs out for Edmonton that year, who the Sabres were fighting with Edmonton and Arizona. And Derek Roy single-handedly sent McDavid to Edmonton and Eichel to Buffalo. Derek Roy. And I'm telling you, there should be a statue for him outside the arena in Buffalo.
You're right, though. And when you look at sports, what is the worst thing you can do in sports? In my opinion,
want to lose.
No. I'm not saying you're a bad guy. No, I'm just going to use an example. 7-9, 8-8. What does that get you? Nothing.
You're dead in the water.
Yeah, you're done. You're the middle of everything. You can't get the player.
You know what that is?
It is the worst. I would rather crap the bed. I would rather.
You're so right.
You know what? And that's why they have to set up something so teams just can't go, hey, we're the worst, and we're going to get the guy that we want. It's ridiculous.
Oh,
right?
You'll be proud of me, and believe me, it doesn't take much. But you'll be proud of me on this. The analogy for the 7-9 or 8-8 team, it's like you're caught in a whirlpool.
Yep.
And the guy's throwing the branch out to try to pull you out, and your hand keeps coming on, and you're stuck in this whirlpool, and you're just stuck in there, and you can't get out. The 7 and 9 teams, the 8 and 8 teams. How many of those teams? They go 7, 8 years in that
exactly
6 to 10, 9. Where they can't get to the next level, and they don't draft high enough to get a difference maker to get them to that point. And you're just consistently, hey, you're competitive, but you always just fall short. You're stuck. You're better to implode the thing and start over in some instances.
Yeah, look at the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Oh, God.
Pretty simple story. They went from a joke of a friend. You get Sidney Crosby, Malkin. How we doing? Welcome, Stanley. Hey. It's not hard. It's not a hard essay to write. Like,
how about the most unfair thing and it doesn't diminish their greatness, but like, Scotty Bowman winning all those cups, but in hockey, when there were the original 6, and then slowly but surely other teams started to come in the late 60s and early 70s. But NHL draft, okay, before we start, yeah, Montreal gets first pick of the best French-Canadian player automatically. Okay, I'll take Guy Lafleur. What? No wonder they won 26 cups. Right?
You bring up excellent points, Brian. Excellent points. See, the man, not just good chicken recipes, but facts. Facts.
Oh, by the way, we won our producer Mike over. He said, all right, I give in.
We're talking. You can do it.
No. We won him over. He said, we're going to put the recipe out on Twitter.
Oh, beautiful. I know it. Send it to me, too. I'd like to try yours. I have a similar one in the crock.
What do you mean send it to you? I just told it to you.
Yeah, just text me, because I need to know the contents, how much.
I just gave it to you.
Okay.
Play the damn podcast back. What am I?
Just text me the damn thing, man. Like a cup of this, a cup of that. I like to get the ingredients.
No, you just got a new phone. I'm done texting. I can talk to you now.
Yes, you can, Brian. I didn't tell you. I had a pick 4 at Gulfstream. I won $350. I almost won $7,000 on the one.
Attaboy. Attaboy. Santa Anita opens today.
Yeah.
Churchill opens tomorrow. NASCAR on Sunday, and we get the golf tournament the match play thing.
Did you bet it?
I'm going to.
Can I tell you who I bet?
I know you very well, and I'll tell you what you did.
Okay.
Well, see, because the funny thing is on the golf thing, and this is a hockey betting podcast.
Yes, it is.
Wait a minute. These are the kind of things that we do when we're giving the picks out in the hockey. There are 2 props for the golf thing, and that's that Dustin Johnson and Rory McIlroy will win the competition. But then there's another one, who will have more skins in the competition. So, because I would take that Fowler and Wolf as a dog could win the competition. I could see the other guys getting more skins, but they could get a skin on 1, 2, and 3. Hey, they've got 3 skins. But then there could be an 8-hole carryover.
Exactly.
And Fowler and Wolf, get slapped by the deck, and, Wolf, he gets it home in 2, and they get an eagle, and it's a 7-hole carryover. The other guys could have 5 skins. They have 1 only, but it was a big carryover, and they win the tournament. So I bet you played Fowler and Wolf.
Yes, I did.
That's my guess.
I took Fowler, more skins, Fowler and Wolf, win the tournament, plus 160. You got to take it. And people don't understand. I know we'll get back to everything, but Fowler and Wolf are both Oklahoma State Cowboys. I don't know what McIlroy and Dustin Johnson are doing right now. I just think it's one of those things that if people look at it, they're blindly going to bet McIlroy and Johnson. But I know, me and you follow golf. We know Ricky Fowler and Wolf, and they went to the same school. I think they're going to have a good game plan, and I think they have more to prove.
All right, here. This is how much we know each other. Okay. There's the last thing on that, and we'll loop back real quick. But I will tell you this. My favorite sporting event is the Masters.
For sure.
Close second.
Now, Stanley Cup Finals and Masters for you.
No. Like Masters is one. Yeah. The Stanley Cup playoffs collectively. I love the first round.
Me too.
All right. My third favorite event is the Dell Match Play in golf.
Oh, yeah, Match Play rocks. Yeah, I like it too.
Match Play rocks, but you get to watch them one day, and the odds makers put up a bad number. I watched this stuff. That guy was lucky to win his match, and this other guy that played really well to win his match is plus $1.90. He's going to kick this guy's backside. But so I love that. But the thing is, when you're talking match play, Now, again, we didn't talk about this. We make this crap up as we go. But when you're in match play, okay, McElroy hits it a mile. Dustin Johnson hits it a mile. Wolf hits it a mile, but, inconsistent. Yep. And Fowler, he ain't won no majors.
He can get it around.
Okay, but it's a match play thing. It's not a stroke play thing. It's okay. But if you're betting in match play, what is the key thing? Honest to God, the key determining factor if you're playing somebody in a match, let's see if you're on board with me. If you're playing a guy head-to-head, what's the biggest determining factor why you would play the guy?
I'm just telling you, what's important is you got to keep it in play when they're hitting it all over the countryside.
Well, there's that. But on the premise that they all keep it in play, to me, the biggest
pressure on them, shooting first and putting it inside, putting pressure on them.
All right, boy, I'm like I'm marlin fishing here. And
jeez,
okay, taking it.
Why don't you just tell me your answer?
I was going to, but we're on the same page on so many things. I thought you would say this instantly.
Okay,
is who's the best putter?
Yes. No, that was so
because Rory McIlroy can hit it.
Yes,
a mile, and he's 12 feet from the hole. His wedges, he doesn't get them significantly close. But Ricky Fowler could be 20 feet away. But I got news for you. Ricky Fowler's going to make, if they played 18 holes and Ricky Fowler had a 20-footer and Rory McIlroy on every hole had a 12-footer, Fowler's making more of those 20-footers than Rory McIlroy's making his 20-footers.
Agree 100%. I think Wolf's a better putter than people think, too.
Right, but Fowler of the four, by a country mile, is the best putter.
Yeah, no, I agree. Hands down. So we're on there.
All right, sorry about folks. You had to do that. We just came and I just wanted.
No. We that's what we do. We talk everything, anything. Hey, like what Mo Sislak said on The Simpsons. Hey, Homa, if it moves, you can bet on it. So yeah, I remember there were pigeon racing back then. So yeah, like we like to bet. Who do you like here? Eastern Conference: Bruins plus 325, Tampa Bay plus 375, Washington 5, Pittsburgh 8, Flyers 5. Wow, that's low. Leafs plus 900, Carolina plus 1,800. You got me interested.
Yes. Bing, one. That's one.
That's
one.
Making that bet. How do I
Carolina is absolutely on my short list. Go.
Okay. That's all. So $21 on Carolina gets me $378 to win the Eastern Conference. Sold.
2021.
Well, I'm just keeping my numbers even for horse racing. I got a plan. Just
relax,
Brian.
Yeah, Carolina's in.
Okay, Okay, so the next one, I'm going to skip Rangers at 33. No, okay, I'm going to pass. So Carolina there, Western Conference, Vegas. We got a piece of Colorado win the Stanley Cup. Blues.
What's Colorado?
Plus 300. I need more. St. Louis.
I'm telling you, I remember on this podcast we did something. Colorado was 15-1, and that was.
I know that's when I bet it to win the Stanley Cup. I'm glad. See, this is the thing I tell people now when we're doing shows. Like I do a show with Morency, right? It's like, I got to wait to get the money. I go, dude, it doesn't matter.
No.
And what is the no? It's just some people are impatient. But I told him, I go, what is the best feeling when you're sports gambling? When that NFL future like kicks in, when you got like low money in your account, or you're sitting there and go, oh my God, my baseball future won, and bang, you got an extra $400 or $500 in your account to play for football. It's amazing. That's why I don't mind waiting.
You got to do it. I want to get the rest of the Western Conference, but when you're making plays,
yes,
you want to get the best of the number. I see the dumbest word, and it's thrown around so much. Value is, to me.
I'm sorry, I say a lot. I say it all the time. It's almost good value. I think Wolf and Fowler are good value.
There's no value in ripping up a ticket.
No, I agree.
Well, I got them. They should have been 12-1, but I got them at 20. Yeah. What'd you do with it? Oh, I flushed it down the toilet. Oh, good value.
Exactly. I agree with that. What? I agree. I throw that word around loosely. I'm guilty.
Okay, well, it wasn't coming at you. It's an industry-wide thing. But I will tell you this. Instead of the word value, it's like you're taking a shot, or it's like in horse racing, you got to be willing to forgive a bad race, and that's when you get a price. I will just say to you, NASCAR is coming back Sunday.
Yep.
All right. No practice. These guys are literally hopping in the car.
I know.
None of them have been driving for 2 months. Forget the cartoon game, right? So anything can happen this week. Anything.
Who do you like?
You know what I did? Only because if he wins this, the rest of the year, the guy's going to be 6-1 or 8-1. Matt Kenseth is coming out of retirement to jump into Kyle Larson's car, and that's a good car. And oh, by the way, Kenseth is the last guy that won a spring race at Darlington.
Good pick. He's 35-1.
He's 35, and in a NASCAR race, believe me, other than Talladega and the restrictor plate races, you can't go much beyond the top 8-10 guys that are, the highest is 8 to 10-1. But he may get an accident in the first lap and it's over. But I'm just saying, he knows what he's doing on this track. He's jumping in a good car. And oh, by the way, they've all got rink rust. If you were ever going to take a flyer on a guy, that makes sense to me.
What do you think about William Byron at 30?
Well, he's driving the cartoon car pretty good, but I mean, he's not Roger Ramjet.
Roger Ramjet. Man, we're old. Okay.
Speed racer.
Yeah, speed racer. Go, speed racer. Go, speed racer. I got one for you. Don't worry, Mike. We're going to the Western Conference. I got a couple for you.
George,
so strong as he can be. Whoa, watch out for that tree. Watch out for that tree.
What's the rest of the Western Conference? Mike,
he's loving this now. He's like, more of that.
No, we have stay-at-home orders, and Mike just left the house.
Yeah, he loves it. Okay, hold on. What do we got here? So I got 2 for the West, and you're going to like the ones that I picked. So Vegas and Colorado, we already have details with futures. Blues plus 450, can't pull the trigger. Dallas 8-1. Sorry, I need more offense. Nashville pass. They're just screwing too many times. Edmonton plus 950. I put in tick. But that was earlier, and I got one for you right now, buddy. Winnipeg Jets 28-1.
I kind of like that. Hellebuck.
What's your team? Vancouver, Calgary. Which is the big dark horse for you?
Well, the problem is, this is a crapshoot.
It is.
I mean, it's not. I mean, going in, like I was all about Colorado.
Now
I've been all year long, and then right before this thing ended, I know we were talking to one day, and I go, who's flying under the radar is the Caps, right? So that was kind of where I was, and now I still think Colorado with their speed. But this is anybody can get on a Tootsie Roll here.
I agree.
I mean, this is almost like a restrictor plate race in NASCAR.
You're right, cookie cutter. A lot of guys can win.
Forget the 70 games that have been played. I mean, we're starting over.
No, you're absolutely right. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. That's why I think Winnipeg, here's my tip to listeners, they know this too. You also, if you're going to back a big underdog as a horse, they got to have a goalie, and Hellebuck can steal games. That's why I think the Jets at close to 30-1 are well worth a sprinkle, $10 or $20.
No, I like it. I like it. Hey, listen, the thing that's going to happen when they come back is, is there a Binnington? Is there a Quick? Is there a guy that, just some goalie that for whatever reason, he's the goalie that somehow, it'd be like, what's the kid's name? It's been so long since we played hockey. What's the goalie's name in Edmonton?
Koskinen, yeah.
I don't know. Maybe, Koskinen, maybe he lives 4 doors down from Connor McDavid. You know what I mean? No, so for the last 2 months, Koskinen's going over to Connor McDavid's driveway, standing in front of the garage door.
And saving missiles. Yeah.
And he's facing shots from Connor McDavid during this whole thing.
Yeah.
But then, Braden Holtby, he's been sitting on his couch eating Doritos.
It could happen. Yeah. We don't know what. That's another thing. We don't know what dudes are doing. Have they picked up are they going crazy, drinking a little bit more? Who knows? Like we're not inside their house. We don't have the cameras. So no, you're absolutely right. But I just think Edmonton at that price is good, and the Jets at that price, and we both have. In our portfolio, a little piece of Vegas and Colorado. So that's good enough for me, buddy. I'm just saying Winnipeg at that price, it's worth a sprinkle.
Well, the one thing I can guarantee you that when they send them to Edmonton, Vegas, Toronto, I don't know. I keep thinking Carolina. I don't know if Carolina has enough ice.
Yeah.
But, to mark the return of hockey and You have the ceremonial face back. Guarantee us, Brendan Leipzig won't be dropping the puck.
Hey, here's another tip. Me and Brian gave you a cooking recipe, some other things. Hey, guys, if you're on Instagram, you know what? Don't go on it. That's a good thing. Don't tweet stuff. Don't go on Instagram when you're out with your buddies getting wild at a cottage up in Muskoka, drinking keggers. Turn off the phone. That's another tip if you want to keep your job. And we're out of here.
Hey, buddy, thanks to the listeners. Seriously.
They've been amazing. Thank you guys for sticking by. And trust me, you'll be real happy because when this thing comes back, it's going to be gangbusters. We might have to do a daily because they're going to be playing their – like, think about it. That's the one thing. It's slow right now, but you wait. When these sports are coming back, it's going to be at a furious pace. I don't even know how the hell you're going to do it, Brian. Like, because NBA, they're going to play 1 million games. Hockey, they're going to play 1 million games. It's going to be nuts.
All right. Here, one last crazy pick.
Yeah, give me a NASCAR one.
No. It's a hockey.
Oh, okay. I'll take hockey too. What do you got? Give me something stupid.
Well, I'm looking again. When we're doing this hockey podcast, I did the same thing last week. You would think it'd be a good idea to have like a hockey browser open.
I kind of do. So why don't you tell me who you like?
I got it open.
Okay.
The Islanders are part of this equation.
The Island.
Hold on. Well, they'd be unless they go to they'd be one of the teams in. Yeah, they're ahead of the Rangers. You know what?
You're saying the break's good for them? They were underachieving.
They were going nowhere fast. Like the break came at a good time for them.
Yeah,
if there's such a thing. But the other thing is the two worst ice surfaces in the NHL. Is this fair? It was Brooklyn.
Yeah,
and Carolina, right?
Yeah.
The guys that play well on bad ice, and they're going to be playing hockey in 98-degree heat outside. You play the bad ice angle, and I love the Hurricanes, but the Islanders, Barry Trotz, little sneaky one for you there.
Yeah, well, 18-1 and 25-1. I like the price. Other than your boy, can you give me one more NASCAR guy, like some chalk, or what do you got?
Oh, I would, I think a guy chalkish.
Or just somebody, who do you, okay,
I got one.
Exactly what you said about throwing tickets down the toilet. Give me 3 picks that you think can win, and I'll tell you, yeah.
Well, I would say this to you, that you have to give the benefit of the doubt to anything Joe Gibbs Racing.
I agree with that.
And the difference maker ultimately here, we're talking about guys that haven't been driving.
Yep.
But at the end, you know what these guys also haven't been doing? The pit crews.
I know.
have not been working. Now, the two best pit crews, the best pit strategy that's employed is Brad Keselowski, and he's starting on the pole.
I like Brad. I already bet him. It's so funny you say that. I just wanted to get I got him at 9-1. He's down to
and he's starting from the pole.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a random draw. But the other thing is, so best alternate pit strategy to give their guy a chance, Keselowski, that's the crew chief. But the best pit crews that make a difference and can win the race at the end are Kyle Busch and Denny Hamlin. So, but again, that's the Joe Gibbs Racing thing. But I would take a guy that is always a mini overlay in that group. I think Martin Truex a little bit flying under the radar. So, and he's probably not much more than 6-7-1.
Yeah, I got him at 8-1. Actually, I'll take him.
Yeah. So the two guys I would play if I were picking two, I'm taking the swing for the fence with Kenseth and think Truex.
And I'm taking Keselowski. Actually, he's 12-1 on one of my books. That's insane.
Huh?
I'm in at 12-1.
And he's aggressive and he's nuts. And by the way, see, Mike is literally.
No, he's not. All we got to do is cut it. Like there's something called an editing tool. You just have to.
No, we're not cutting. NASCAR hockey fans maybe better than NASCAR. They're starved for stuff.
Yeah. Right.
But no, you know what?
Yep.
Honestly, I don't. Who cares where you start?
Yeah.
You can make it up. There's ways to come get back. Like a great driver had to change an engine, starts at the back of the pack, and he's there contending at the end of the race. But I would say this, starting up front for a guy like Keselowski in this thing where the first lap they turn in a car is the race, that there could be a calamity on the first lap and Keselowski's out in front of it. There could be a 15-car accident on the first lap behind him.
Yeah. That's I just can't believe he's 12-1. I saw him at 7 and 8. So, you know what? Click. Is that not value? because I'm not going to throw that ticket in the toilet. I think it's got a good chance. See, that's value. When you find a guy everywhere at 7 and you're getting 12, it might, and you think he could win. That's when you throw the V word.
All right, the V word. We'll wrap it up. Next week's a big week. When we get back together next week, we got a Board of Governors call. I think we're going to know the format, and we'll get the word on the draft. But like I said, I don't think you can do the draft till you say, well, here's how the season's going to play out.
Exactly.
How can you determine who gets what pick or who's in the lottery? So I think the Board of Governors call is early in the week. Some reports say Monday, but it's like guaranteed it's Monday. But early in the week, I think by the time we do this again next week, Cam, we're going to know the actual format, and we can dive into actual numbers. How's that?
I like it, buddy. I like it. Well, good luck with all your picks this weekend. I know, hey, we got NASCAR. We got the golf match. Hopefully you can ride my wave with the Wolfman and Fowler. And Brian, when I talk to you next week, hopefully we're padding those accounts, and we have some good news for the people. And, let's just hope, baby, we can get this thing moving forward, because I'm jonesing for some hockey.
Amen. Hey, folks, this is Brian Blessing. Hope you're enjoying the Hockey Betting Podcast. We have a couple chuckles, try to get you a lot of winners. Hey, we hope you like what you're hearing. And if you do, hit the subscribe button and give us a review, give us a rating. Most importantly, enjoy the hockey and keep coming back to the Hockey Betting Podcast.
The handicapping and sports odds information contained on this podcast is for entertainment purposes only. Please confirm the wagering regulations in your jurisdiction, as they vary from state to state, province to province, and country to country. Using this information to contravene any law or statute is prohibited. The podcast is not associated with, nor is it endorsed by any professional or collegiate league, association, or team. This podcast does not target and is not intended for an audience under the age of 18. If you think that you have a gambling addiction, stop this podcast now and please seek help.
Gambling and betting on sports is a form of entertainment and should be about having a good time. But when done excessively, it may negatively affect other areas of a person's life, such as their physical and mental health, school or work performance, finances, and or interpersonal relationships. At BetCrisCanada.net and the Hockey Betting Podcast, we're concerned about the addiction that gambling may cause, and for this reason, we encourage everyone to practice responsible gambling, an approach to gambling that helps you ensure that it remains an enjoyable activity. Here are the main principles of responsible gambling. Don't think of gambling as a way to make money. Always gamble with money that you can afford to lose. Set limits and stick to them. Never chase losses. Don't gamble when you're depressed or upset, and create a healthy balance. Always be aware of how much time you spend gambling or thinking about gambling. And do not allow gambling to cause you to miss out on time with family and friends or time spent on other activities you enjoy. By following these guidelines, gambling can be a good time and great entertainment. If you feel at any time that your gambling is taking away from important areas of your life, is causing you stress or depression, or is leading to financial losses that are beyond your control, please reach out for help. Learn more at responsiblegambling.org.